You're watching The Whole Living Show on Trajectory TV.
5 years ago, the Power of We Symposium was created to provide a platform for kids from all sectors where they could have a safe and comfortable environment in which to share both their joys and concerns. The Power of We Symposium is proud to have served over 250 kids throughout Romania when we took our mission global back in May of 2023. Now, 2 teams of amazing volunteers from both the U.S. and Romania embarked on an 8-day Legacy of Hope tour, bringing encouragement and hope to not only the kids of Romania, but also the adults who support them, and also to over 100 kids here in the U.S. who contributed handwritten letters of hope to our Romania mission of 2023. Now, this year, we are proud to provide this opportunity yet again in October, and we are super excited to up our game. New venue, 750 kids this time, and we want to see you there. We're looking forward to meeting you in person at this year's event, which promises, as always, incredible speakers, amazing content, and of course, some of the greatest kids on the planet. So, mark your calendars for October 24th, and we'll see you here in Chicagoland for the Power of We Symposium 2024. This year's theme is Always Together, Never Alone. Tickets are available now on Eventbrite or at powerofwesymposium.com.
Operate out of your dreams and your vision and not other people's expectation. Having breast cancer wasn't my choice, but the decision to live healthy so that I could stand before you here today, that's choice. You can choose this very moment to change your life from every perspective.
Tracy Randolph was our speaker. She came back because so many people liked her first presentation. I was one of those people that joined her fitness group, and it made me a better leader.
I grew up in a community, but they had limiting beliefs on what a little black girl could do. Everything that you do in this life is a choice. I choose to live healthy. I choose to change my mindset. I choose to be everything that I dreamed of because I choose faith and I choose me. Live healthy, be everything that you can be today. Choose yourself.
Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday. It is time for the Whole Living Show, and it is that week for Connected Conversations with my bestie. So we've got some great conversation coming your way this evening. I'm going to bring her in because for the topics that I want to share, I want her to opine on all of them before we get into our main topic. So please welcome Shema. She Talks.
Hey there, Whole Living Show.
Hello.
Hello, Bestie.
Right. Hello, Bestie. Hey, Bestie.
I know.
Okay, so there's a little girl that we both watch on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And she's super cute. She always starts her videos with, "Hey, Bestie." So we always share her videos back and forth.
Yes.
She's just adorable. But I wanted to start out tonight on a serious subject. There was a story that I read, a news article. It was actually from CNN, and it says, and we're going to get into it, but the topics, the first part of this says, the 3 women sit huddled together, hands and arms intertwined, heads on each other's shoulders, For too long, each felt utterly alone, and it's as if their physical closeness gives them a boost of strength. Now, this article goes on to talk about a doctor who was repeatedly molesting women. In his doctor's office, he was an OBGYN, and he was doing some unfathomable things to these particular women that have come forward. But what he used to do, so it's a small town in Oregon. His name is Dr. David Farley. So, and I know that he has, according to this article, since moved from the small town in Oregon. So if you come across a Dr. David Farley in other states, you want to make sure that you are not utilizing his services as your physician, as your OBGYN. So I just wanted to mention this here because we want to look out for people like that who take advantage of women. This is about women who take advantage of women when they are supposed to be caring for the women. So in this article, it talks about how one of the young ladies grew up in the community. So she was going to this doctor from the beginning, you know, as she started to grow and develop. Her mom took her to this doctor. Now, what's so interesting about this story is because it was a small community, you know, most of the people went to the same place of worship. And when you go to a place of worship, and so did this doctor, and you know, you think that you can trust your community, you can trust what is part of your, usually when you're in a small community and everybody knows everybody else and people attend the same worship service in the same church, usually people become extended family. I know that that's how me and my bestie grew up, in church together, and everybody there was part of our extended family. So this doctor in particular also went to this church, and he would often coerce the parents into having the kids come to him earlier than teenagers normally would, or not even maybe even teenagers, but very early on, earlier than they normally would. And he would give these stories about a client, another patient rather, having cancer, and him wanting to check the girls earlier so that that same thing wouldn't happen to them. And that was a story that he used constantly. In the article, you hear from the other women, and they all mention that same story that he told them. Women who grew up in the community, or women who moved to the community, because there was two women in particular who moved to the community, and both were pregnant and started going to this doctor as recommended by someone in the church, because they started to attend the church for their worship service. So, you know, it goes on to talk about, you know, how he would, you know, fondle the women, how he would stay inside too long when doing pap smears. It just, you know, there was just like the article says, unfathomable acts. And, you know, when you're, particularly for one of the women who was going to this doctor early on, he coerced her into actually breaking her hymen to be able to do some tests and to fondle her. Yes. And she earlier than it was supposed to happen. Right. So, and in cases like that, right, when somebody coerces you to do certain things like that, right, they're trying to absolve themselves from what they know later could potentially be a crime, right? So if you give consent to have somebody break your hymen, or your child's hymen, because I'm going to say this, right, because it takes the parent to take the underage teenager, underage person to the doctor and get the approvals for these things to happen. But they're entrusting the doctors in what they're saying, thinking that something could potentially be wrong, and allowing the doctor to move forward. Now, in cases like that, where there's some sexual abuse or harassment that comes along, if the doctor has the permission to break the hymen, right, then when it goes to the police officers later, you know, to the officials later, then that permission was granted, right? So then it's a hard case. And in this case too, because it was a small town, getting people to listen and actually believe the stories of these women, and it was almost like they were trying to twist their words around to say that things weren't so bad with this doctor. And people unbelievably supported this doctor when, so many women came together saying that, these lewd things had happened to them from this particular doctor. So I just wanted to put the story out there, and I wanted to, because CNN included his name there, Dr. David Farley. Yep, we are giving his name because it's already out there, and we want women to watch out for this doctor. He is believed to be in Salt Lake City, Utah now, and not in Oregon. So if you live in that area, if you know someone in that area, just please spread the word. I don't know if he's practicing at the moment, but I do know that he went from Oregon to, I can't remember exactly where it was. He went from Oregon to another state. He ended up working in a school system. When they did further investigation on him, yes, thankfully, gratefully, it didn't go so far, because when they did further investigation on him, they found out that there was a case pending on him, and they fired him. They got rid of him, right? Because of the case, because of the nature of the case. So they fired him because he has no business being around children. In this particular case, as I said, one of the women started out as a child, went all the way. She's 35 now. So, for her to come out now to talk about this story, but and she actually moved and found out later, after going to an OBGYN, later found out that her having pap smears as early as she did was uncalled for, right? And not necessary. But she didn't know that, right? Because you don't know what you don't know, right? And you believe what the doctors are telling you. So I wanted to put this story out there because I just want women to really be aware when you are going into your physician's office. You have to question certain things, and if things don't feel right, they're probably not right. So don't allow them to continue. And for the mothers who are sending their daughters there, right, make sure that you are in the room with your children. Absolutely. So that the doctors cannot perform any unnecessary acts on your children, any unnecessary testing, no looting, no sexual abuse, anything. So please make sure that you're there in the room with your children. So I just wanted to put this story out there for people to beware of that particular doctor and others that may be out there like him, for people to pay attention. Yeah. It is definitely a shaking a head moment. It's that, we talked about this last night, but there's an abuse of power, right? Like there's and you mentioned it before, talking about, the entitlement. There's this sense of grandeur when people have so much support and people put them on a pedestal. And the way the article made this sound, this doctor was definitely on a pedestal. It was a small town. He was the doctor, right? And I'm putting on my air quotes, but he was the doctor for that particular specialty. And everyone went to him and everybody sang his praises. So when you have that sense of grandeur and you have all of this support behind you without any conviction, right? Then, these things are able to take place without any recourse until somebody finally decides to speak out. And I'm so glad that these women did, so that, it's not happening to other women. But he's still out there and he's still free at the moment and living in another state and city. So I hope that he's not practicing now.
I think a lot too, we have to get rid of this whole feeling of shame and guilt, like we did something or we don't want to be seen this way. And me included, and I'm not saying that those things have happened to me, but in other instances where I feel like I don't want to come off as the angry Black woman or the angry Black girl or whatever, I got to get over that. We got to get over the shame of, oh, this happened to me, or I don't want anybody to know that I'm afraid to go in here, or I'm afraid to ask the questions. And parents, you have every right to go in there. Every right. I think my mom continued to, and I didn't even want to go to the gynecologist at 18. She went with me. And I still didn't want him to check me. Why? Why is he checking me? What are we doing down there? What is all this about? I continue to go to the pediatric doctor.
Yeah.
But you have the right. You're an advocate for your child. As an adult, you have the right to say, I'm bringing my sister in here, or I'm bringing my bestie, whoever, my husband, whoever. They don't have to step out.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Yeah. And I love that, our doctor in New Jersey, just give him a shout out. But I love that he always, when it was time for the examination, he always brought one of the nurses into the room to do the examination. And he would have a discussion with you privately, but then as soon as it was time for the examination, he brought one of the nurses into the room. So I so respect that about him. Right. And that's, listen, for the doctors too, like, cover yourself, because there are people out there who also make up stories about physicians. Right. So, there is a flip side to that as well. So just cover yourself and make sure that your patients feel safe in the process as well. So I just appreciate him for that. In other news, we wanted to highlight and celebrate 3 beautiful women. We have Taraji P. Henson, Nicola Conlon, and Marche Martin, who are the spokeswomen for 2024 for Kate Spade, as my bestie pulls out her Kate Spade bag, her hunter green Kate Spade bag, travel bag there. But just wanted to celebrate those 3 women and just talk about, the fact that Kate Spade has 3 very different, very beautiful women who are there to support, to I guess, promote, right? Kate Spade. Yeah. And I wanted to say that the women here too also, and I like to put the stories out there, but the women here also said that Kate Spade was one of those brands that they bought very early on. Like when they got there, Nicola Conlon, who is Mrs. Whistledown from Bridgerton, I love that show. She said that it was the very first bag that she bought after Bridgerton, after her very first season of Bridgerton. But they also all 3 agreed that, that Kate Spade will never go out of style. And I definitely agree with that one. I absolutely love her. And Marche Martin said when she was a teen, because she's the younger one out of the group, she said that her very first purchase was a Kate Spade phone case, because she just loved how they were adorned with, the different things, like she had sparkles and hearts and, different things that she adorns the phone cases with. So that was Marche's purchase, but they all just talked about how Kate Spade is timeless. So we just wanted to share. Yeah.
That's my first purchase. A Kate Spade phone case was the first thing I bought from them.
And I'm trying to think of what was my first purchase. I don't even know, because I have so much stuff from her. Oh, I do know. It was a pair of sunglasses, and I still have them to this day. They are orange here, and then the arms are pink. Yeah.
Oh, so yes.
That was my first, and they came in this very pretty green and pink case. But that was my first purchase from Kate Spade. And I still have those glasses till this day. And I have bought so many other things from Kate Spade.
I didn't want to run over and just grab all the stuff. So my purse was right here. I was carrying it today.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, we'll just show this one thing.
Yeah. I actually have, my last purchase from her was, no, that wasn't my last purchase. I'm sorry. But I had, I was going to say that wasn't my last purchase. But I have one of her bags is in my closet. It's showcased in my closet. It's because it's pink. Because it's pink and it has her name in really nice writing. So it's showcased in my closet. But love Kate Spade.
Yeah, me too.
So, and I love that she has 3 very different women promoting. And Taraji, with her beautiful self, is 53 years old. So she is the more seasoned of the ladies. And then you have Nicola Conlon, who is, around in her 30s. And then Marche, who's in her 20s. So these 3 powerhouse women, all actresses, by the way, some are producers as well, but all actresses. And they are joining together to promote Kate Spade. So we wanted to celebrate them.
Love it. Love it. Love
it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is our topic for today? The topic is, what do women over 40 really want? Single women over 40. What do they really
Single
want?
and dating women? Single?
Dating or not dating, that's up to them,
Oh,
right? If they decide to or not to, which is why the question came about. And let me tell you why I'm asking this question, because I was on the phone with my cousin uh, the other day, and we were talking about relationships and dating, and we were talking about, and I'm gonna call us powerhouses because we are. We were talking about powerhouse women over 40 and how, when it comes to, and I'm not saying this loosely, so I want the audience to understand this, but when it comes to not needing to be in a relationship, right? And when I say that, I mean because we are, career women, entrepreneurs, handling our business, can pay our own bills, can take care of our kids, what is it that single women over 40 really want? Because when you're doing all of those things and you quote unquote don't need, I'm going to say, a man or a significant other, right? It just depends on, kind of where you are with your relationships. But if you don't need a significant other, excuse me, what do you really want? And her and I started talking about, which we could get into, but we started talking about how, we want to see more of the world and how we want to travel. So I have a few questions, but it looks like you wanted to say something. So go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to add to that when you say you don't actually need the relationship or the man to do the things that we have done or are doing.
Mm-hmm.
We need them for other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that only because there's such a connotation out there that we don't need men.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll hear a lot of women say it.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll, of all ages, young,
Mm-hmm.
old. It is not, and I'm just speaking for me,
Mm-hmm.
and I just want women to hear themselves when they say that and be
Mm-hmm.
specific when you say why or what
Mm-hmm.
you don't need from them, because it comes off as, oh, I don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do. I pay all my bills.
Mm-hmm.
I travel and see the world as much as I want.
Mm-hmm.
I hang out when I want. I do what I want. I
Mm-hmm.
cook when, it's all what I feel like doing. I run businesses, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I do need male companionship for certain things. And I'm not just talking about sex, because y'all know I will say that, but I'm not just talking about that. But I just wanted to make that, that addition to that statement. We may not need you for all of this stuff over here because we're already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
There are still things that are needed that you only companionship, I feel like only male companionship can provide. Because I have and I'm probably going further into this than you wanted to, but I have an amazing support base of friends and family and work people, career people, professional people, all of that, entrepreneur mentors, and anything that I need, anywhere that I can pull from. I don't have that other part. So if that is one of the desires of my heart, and it is, I have to say, I need that. I just am okay without it. That's really
now, of course, I like to always challenge conversations. And I'm not saying this is me at all, right? But when women say they don't need, what if they've gotten to the point where they really feel like I don't? And maybe it's because, and it might be just for a moment in time. It may not be forever, right? But maybe they've gotten to the point, and it could be because, listen, past hurt, trauma from relationships, experiences with relationships, maybe that, kind of skew them into the place of saying, you know what, I don't need this, or maybe I just don't need this right now. Right. Yeah. And it could be for a moment in time, right? That may open up. But I have seen, and this is why I'm saying it this way, I have seen women who are older now, right? And I'm going to say, 60 and over, who have decided that they were done. They're just done. Right. and they can do without. And maybe also, because you have to bring sex into the conversation also, maybe also the sexual desires are not there either.
Exactly.
So they feel like they don't need a significant other because those desires are not there. But I like to challenge that, because there are some people who really do feel like they don't need it now, or they don't need it at all, to be honest with you.
And I wasn't leaving them out.
Yeah.
Clear. I wasn't leaving them out, but
yeah.
You gotta get, it's hard to be in this position and not hit all the groups, all the, all the demographics. So
for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I just, me, I just like to challenge it, because I've heard people say that, and I see people that are conducting their lives that way. Now, will they open up to it? Maybe the right person will catch them, and and they'll be open to it. You never know. But some people get to a place in their life where they're just content with just being and being able to be who they are. So now, before I even get into the questions that I actually had, right now that I think about that part of it, when people get to a place where they are really content with who they are really satisfied with who they are, and they've never found that person in a relationship, because I do feel, in my opinion, right? I do feel like you have to be able to be yourself, your whole and complete self, when you are in a relationship with another person. And we're talking about intimate relationships. So I'm not talking about mom and child and mom and daughter. And I'm not talking about that. Right. No, I'm talking about where tonight is about intimate relationships.
Absolutely.
But there's sometimes people are not in a place, and that could be from them internally, or it could be because of the person that they're with. Mm-hmm. But oftentimes people are in a place where they just can't be who they really are in a relationship for whatever reason. So I wanted to bring that part up too, because you just sparked some interest in my head now. Just like I thought about that, and I'm like, when people release relationships and they decide that they're satisfied with who they really are, maybe they weren't before, or maybe they just feel like they couldn't be. But but then what do you say to that part of it?
And now, I feel like you have to be true to you. Mm-hmm. You can't. We learned this very well. We've learned this. You can't live your life behind a mask, mm-hmm. putting on for the public. Mm-hmm. You can try. Mm-hmm. You will not be truly happy or content, regardless of whether there's a relationship or not. Let's just make that statement. But if part of that is knowing I'm content with myself and knowing that I can truly be myself all the time, mm-hmm. and I don't want to take the chance of going into a relationship, because then I either lose myself or not be myself. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm a work person, so I feel like the work has to be done. Mm-hmm. If you want a relationship, mm-hmm. it's just mm-hmm. like you said. Some people are done. Yeah. They're not looking. They're wanting to live life content, being themselves, knowing themselves, and being free to be who they are. Mm-hmm. But if you are knowing who you are and free, being free with who you are, and still willing to be in a relationship, mm-hmm. then you have to decide, and you have to make the decision to say, I'm going to be who I am. Mm-hmm. If it does not work out, mm-hmm. I already know me enough to say, I'm not going to stay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't deserve either to go back to this person that I was hiding, mm-hmm. or go back to, or turn into something that's just not me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't deserve that. And neither does the person.
Right. That's right.
Neither does the person. They don't deserve this facade of who you are. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. So now, what do you think are some of the most important sources of personal fulfillment for single women over 40? So that they get to that place where they know exactly who they are?
Well, I just said to you before we got on the show, this side of 50, I say a lot of what I feel.
Yeah.
Without remorse.
Mm-hmm.
Because carrying it sometimes is heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm not a hurtful person. I'm not a person who is going to deliver information or anything to you in a manner that's going to hurt you. And if it does, it's probably because I don't know. It's definitely not intentional. But in staying true to who I am and honoring what I should be doing in this world or what I'm called to do, I'm going to say it. And I think that's the bigger thing, to be able to say it and feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And, stand flat-footed, 2 feet down, say what it is and mean what it is.
Yeah.
And know that it wasn't out of malice.
Yeah.
But it was true to who I am, and it was hopefully what you were needing to hear at that moment.
Yeah. Well, what do you think?
You don't know what other way to be.
I mean,
everything else feels fake.
Yeah. And because we've done the work, right? When you talk about, really being able to dive into personal development and starting to release, you mentioned the masks earlier, right? But releasing the masks, right? Letting them go, taking them off, releasing the hurt, the pain, whatever it was from the past. Like once you do all of that, then it's like you're so open to, let me just be who I am. One, you're like, okay, I've done all of this to make sure that I'm better. I'm not taking any mess from nobody else anymore, right? But you're more open. So once you become more open, it's like, I'm just going to be, and it's no other really way to describe it, but just to say, I'm not going to live, this fake, phony facade lifestyle any longer. Right. And I can say, I'm going to say this is my opinion once again, but I'm going to say this. I think most women do very early on live a facade, right? And
because
then I think once you get to that 40 mark, things start to change because you're like, hold on. If you're not doing what you want to do, you're like, I'm going to change that, right? If you're not liking the way people are communicating with you, you're like, I'm going to change that, right? So
that's the part when you at 40, it's like, oh, you're not going to do that to me.
Yeah.
You're not going to say that to me.
Yeah.
When you hit that other threshold.
Yeah.
To me, but I'm going to say something to you.
Right.
It becomes a twofold. You're not going to say that to me. And this is why you're not going to say it.
That's right. That's right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, everyone, but don't go anywhere. We're having fun with this conversation, but we really want to know because, unfortunately, I'm going to mention this, right? The statistics tell you that the number of women outnumber the number of men, right? So we definitely want to know like what it takes to really be fulfilled as women and what do single women over 40 really want. So stay tuned. We'll be back to continue this conversation. We are back. So next question here for you is, do women over 40 prioritize romantic relationships, or has their perspective on love changed over time?
I hear a lot of people say, that, oh, no, I don't care. And I don't, mine hasn't. And I don't know why. You would think after all of the bumps and bruises, I'd be like, deuces. But I haven't. Because I think I'm forever anticipating that amazing feeling, that love, that connection, that relationship, that kindred spirit type romance that I've yet to experience. But I do hear in lots of conversations with women over 40 who say, nah. And you know me, because I'm thinking, oh, they're jaded. And they are, because they've been through some crap, horrible treatments. And they just don't want to. Not everybody's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah.
So you decide, okay, I can't keep doing this.
I've had enough. Yeah.
Right. And then two, I think there's also this mindset of, well, if it comes to me, like, he's got to find me type thing, or love has to find me. And then more specific to what you're saying about the being romantic, I think we hurt women, pause ourselves, because that creates more of that yearn and more of that want to be with and spend time with. So you kind of hold yourself back because you don't want to feel like you're all in and then everything tumbles down and it's over.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also believe that you rob yourself. I'm going to say this. You're going to do it the way you would do it, because any other way robs you of the full experience. Some people don't have the wherewithal to do it for every person you're dating. So there takes some discernment, but don't half-ass it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Are people really dating? Like, I think for me over time, it actually got better, because I feel like in my earlier years, I wasn't so much concerned about it. I was more career driven, and I wasn't really focused on, oh, I have to be in a relationship or I have to get married. That was never the trajectory for me early on. Right. That didn't come until later. For me, I the yearning for the companionship and wanting somebody there and, wanting to be in a relationship, all of that came later. Because in my 20s and 30s, I was like, whatever, But over 40, I think that changed for me. Now, don't get me wrong. When we talked about earlier, now I've changed though, right? So what I'm willing to continue to deal with has changed, right? Even though, you give people some leeway, right? Because people are people, right? And after 40, you recognize that people are human and they've lived life experiences like you did, and you start to give them some leeway until it doesn't work out for you, right? Or until you feel like you can't be yourself, or it's hurting too much, right? So then you decide that enough is enough. But I definitely feel like for me, there is a priority there now that wasn't there before. However, I will say this, I still do have, what am I going to say? A little bit of that swagger in me. I'm going to call it swagger. I know we talk about that with men, but my bestie sometimes says I have a little machismo in me. So
testosterone in her.
So I will say there is still that part of me that says, well, if it doesn't happen, I'm still good. You know what I mean? Now, and not that I don't want it, because that's not it. It's not that I don't want it. And maybe women, maybe women, and I'm saying this to myself while I'm saying it to you, maybe you need to stop accepting what you know is not good for you. Hello, I'm gonna widen my eyes on that one, because oftentimes when it doesn't work out, it's part of it is what we have accepted. So, and I'm saying we, including myself in there, but maybe you need to stop accepting what you know is not right for you. So I'm going to put that out there. But the part two of this question also is, are single women, if they're not making it a priority, but if women are still out there dating, do they seek companionship without traditional structures? And is that what we should do, what we shouldn't do, or is it's a neutral thing?
I don't know if I could say what we should or shouldn't do.
None of us can, honestly.
Right. I think it depends on you and what you can handle.
Yeah.
Now, I will go back to what my bestie said a minute ago about accepting things that we shouldn't. Especially when you know yourself and you know that certain things just aren't for you. You can fool yourself to thinking that you can handle them. And sometimes you can, or you can handle them for a short time. And then it becomes something that's too much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I can't, like I said, I'm going to stick with, I cannot tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I guess I'm probably more of a risk taker in relationships than I am with business. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I safeguard my money quicker than I'll safeguard my heart.
But have you always been that way, or is that this side of 50?
I've always safeguarded my money. Now let's just be clear.
Yeah, that part, yeah. But I'm talking about the relationship stuff. Like,
no, I've always been this way. I've always given my heart. Huh? About me? I've always given my heart.
Oh no, I'm not talking about that part. You do give your heart, but when you talk about taking risks, that question was about, not being traditional. You know what I mean? So I don't feel like we all take risks. You get into a relationship, but it's more it was more traditional, right? In the past. I think this side of 50 lends to, if it's not so traditional. Yeah.
I think back then it was probably it was definitely traditional because I was thinking younger. Oh, you have to get married. You have to have children. And you don't want to have, and not to knock anybody, you don't want to have children without a husband. And I was that person. I don't want to do this alone. I never wanted to do it alone. I never did. I still don't. Even if I was in that age of childbearing, I still wouldn't want to do it alone. That's my choice.
Yeah.
That's me. I know me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean like Tracy said, doesn't mean I can't.
Right.
I just never wanted to.
Right.
And back then that was my tunnel vision. If I'm gonna get in a relationship, I want to be married. I'm not gonna just date to just be dating. And then I think right over 40, I was like, now you spent 30 something years saying you're gonna get married and have a husband and this, that, and other. Now you're on this side of 40. And I even said this to her and other friends. Do you think I have been so rigid to the point where now I should think you can just live with a person and you don't have to be married? I am on the fence about that still because I just feel like, do you need the traditional portions to have a good relationship?
Right. But when you say that the traditional portions, let's be clear, are you just speaking about marriage or are you speaking about marriage and commitment, right? Because listen.
Well, I'm hoping if I say marriage now, I'm going to stop switching everything up.
I'm separating them because of what you see out there, right? And listen, we talked about on a previous show, we talked about Ashley Madison, right?
Right.
So people are doing some different things out here today. So we have to be clear. Yeah, you have to be clear about what you think is not traditional versus traditional, right?
For me, anytime I say marriage, I'm saying commitment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't like to share.
Right.
I'm selfish with that is the perfect pair statement. I am selfish with my relationships with the people I'm with. I don't want to share no man with nobody. I don't want, if somebody get inside your head, unless it's a psychiatrist, it should be me.
Right.
We can have conversation, but I'll share everything else I have. You can have anything I got. I'm a giving person. I don't want to give the person in the relationship with me.
Yeah.
I'll share them in a certain aspect. Not, I want a commitment. I'm committing, and I'm expecting commitment back.
Yeah. And I wholeheartedly agree with you on that, which is going to lead me into the next question. What characteristics are women over 40 looking for in a significant other, a mate, a companion? What are they looking for?
Well, it's so, I have to say this because, we're in that day and age. I'm looking for men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for men.
Mm-hmm.
Grown men.
Mm-hmm.
But more so, it's a lot of character traits. I want you to be honest. Be considerate. See, I say this.
That's a big one.
Me and my bestie talk about a lot of stuff. I'm not gonna share everything with y'all. But I say that because people hear consideration and think that you have to turn a blind eye to what you want to consider someone else, and you don't.
No.
You don't have to be you don't have to be disrespectful or insensitive to consider, because consideration is just the thought of someone else.
Of someone else, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you can be honest. You can say whatever's on your mind. You can give advice. Just think about what you're saying, who you're saying it to, and what you want them to take from it.
And your words and your actions should match should be considerate. Not just what you say, but what you do as well to other people. Consider other people's feelings. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And we all deserve the right to be loved and respected and considered, right? There's nothing wrong with being honest, right? Nothing at all wrong with being honest. But there also comes a time where it's like, well, how do I think I would impact this person with this message or with my actions, right? What would that do to this person, right? And I also feel like when people don't consider other people's feelings, they're so disconnected that how would they be able to really have a relationship with a person if they don't have the consideration for other people? Like, how do you really have a good relationship? And this goes, like, I know we're talking about intimacy, right? But that even goes with friendship, right? Like, how do you consider somebody a friend if you're not considering their feelings, right? How can you be a friend? And I'm, just thinking about that in more recent events in my life.
Right.
And just thinking about, some things that were said. It's like, this is not my friend.
Right.
Because sometimes you can leave a relationship and actually be a friend, right? Still be a friend.
Yes. But are you showing yourself friendly?
Right. Exactly.
Not how you treat other friends.
Exactly.
Think about how you treat people. And like you said, when you make that statement, oh, but we can still be friends. But is that how you treat friends?
Yeah.
Because that's not good.
No. And I often find myself, saying, right, and this is just normal, right? How would you feel if these things were said or done to you in the same manner?
Like it.
Right.
You would not
like
it.
And if you know you wouldn't like it, then why would you do it to someone else? Right? It's the Bible verse, do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
It almost lends to the fact that, well, I know that. And if I still do it, it's because I meant to or I want to. So it kind of answers.
There goes the disconnection that I was talking about earlier. Right.
Or and it speaks to I don't care. Now, if that's not what you meant, or if that's not what you were feeling or thinking at the time, unfortunately, we all have an opportunity to reflect and make amends. But if you don't, most of us in most relationships should be able to say, and I know one of my girlfriends, she'll probably say, but I still want closure. That in most cases is going to be it, because in that person's mind, they felt like what they did, how they handled it is exactly the way
that was the closure. That's all the closure I needed. I can tell you that. I don't need closure. I'm out. Peace out. I don't need any closure. I'm done. That was my closure right there. You gave me closure as soon as you decided that you didn't want to treat me well, right? Bam, there it goes, right there, right there. Especially when you've gotten many chances, right? So, okay, I'm out. But I wanted to talk about some of the deuces, out. But especially I wanted to talk about some of the characteristics that you mentioned and just kind of run them down before we close out the show, right? Because you talked about honesty, big one, right? Consideration, right? I had some more to add. Compassion, right? Trust, being able to trust someone, and not just.
But you build a lot of that. But everybody will say that, well, you get trust as you go along.
Yeah.
There has to be a level of trust. I don't care if it's this much for you to even engage in the getting to know you stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. A perfect example, right? We went out recently here in Charlotte. We won't name the place. But there was a particular person that walked up to me, and I'm not gonna name names. I don't know if I even remember the name, to be honest with you. But walked up, and when you talk about that level of trust, and like you could see, like in that personality, like there's nothing really there. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about feelings between people. I'm talking about this won't even be a good conversation.
Exactly.
Right. And when you're at that point, that this is another time that I'm like, deuces, like I don't have the patience at this side of 50 to sit and try to converse with a person where you can really see that this is not going to go anywhere. It's not even a person that I really want to engage with. And person show proof, right? Because they went to the next person, right? And started talking to my friend, right? Which is fine, but like I didn't care. But it's like you can see it. You can see when a person is just not good, right?
Right.
And completely disconnected from what we just talked about, consideration and having a certain level of trust. And so, look for these things when you are looking for your person, if that's what you want, right? Let's be clear about that, because we're not telling you what you should have. We're just mentioning the things that we think are important. So
now, you and I have done these lists our whole lives.
Yeah.
Is this list very different? Isn't it very different from the ones we used to do in our 20s?
Yeah.
Oh, on that list was so many things.
Yeah.
It was looks. It was height.
Jobs, down to like you gotta have good shoes and nice teeth.
I know.
you still gotta have those things, but they're not. They used to be at the top of the list. Right now, it's about who you are. It is about who you are at your core.
And how you conduct yourself
at your core. Absolutely, who you are at your core, and then the other things come into play.
Absolutely.
Right. But yeah, it does look different after 40, right? The things that you deem important, are a lot different. Like they don't have to be so muscular anymore.
Well, mine still has to be tall now.
Yeah.
That never changed. Not changing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, all of those, most of everything else you probably can't see with the naked eye.
Yeah, absolutely. But
and
listen, if you gotta trust your intuition, you gotta trust your gut, right? As people say, if you're not feeling it, don't even continue, especially over 40. I'm saying this to the over 40 women, not to knock the beauty. And listen, 20s, like if you're not feeling it, I would say that to you too. Save yourself a lot of
Learn
heartache and
early.
headaches.
Learn it
Right?
early,
But
girls.
like you just know inside.
Right.
And I think we just make exceptions, right? Because of the statistics, number one, right? We just make these exceptions because everybody wants love.
Absolutely.
Everybody wants love. But when it's not right, when you feel it in your gut at that moment, it's time to go.
Yeah.
It really is, because there's a book out there called The Mountain Is You. And the woman in this book talks about, and I can't think of the author's name right at the moment, but that's the name of the book. So check it out. But she talks about when it's not right, when it's not what the divine, when it is not what God has for you, there's nothing that's going to be able to make that right. So things will continue to happen until you get to the place where you can listen to what you're supposed to listen to from God, from the divine, from whatever it is for you. But this is what she says, and I wholeheartedly believe that. So everyone out there, listen, we love you. When you are looking for the beautiful people that you want to be intimate with in your life, trust your gut and move forward from there. And don't dwindle down on your list of what are deal breakers, right? Don't start to make exceptions for things that you really don't want in your life just to have a companion, right? Because you're going to save yourself some time and headaches and heartaches if you do. So we love you. We thank you for joining us here on the Whole Living Show this evening, and we will see you again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.